Lirandzu, when it comes to the land issue, women have always been on the margins of not just being able to acquire land, but many of the challenges that they face with regard to the land, even though they're the ones that are continuously working it. So it certainly is a step in the right direction that we are having this conversation.
Well, one thing that was clear, Kathy, was the fact that this dialogue, this seminar was long overdue. As you said, women have always been at the back burner of this very important discussion when it comes to land access, land ownership, land rights, land reform. But yet, as much as women are the ones that are basically working the land, living on and off the land, only 13%, Kathy, of women actually own the land in South Africa. I mean, this is quite a very low figure if you take into consideration that over 30% of land that is in individual hands. So only 13% of that is actually in the hands of women. So this seminar that was attended by, law experts, it was attended by ordinary women, but also by academics, researchers, as well as politicians. One of the politicians that was in attendance was the Minister of Women, who also gave her 2 cents. But more than anything, Minister Bathabile Dlamini saying that patriarchy still remains high on the agenda with regards to the stumbling blocks that are really blocking a lot of women in them accessing land.
Lirandzu, I'm wondering how much of this conversation will also form part of the agenda, especially within the corridors of Parliament, as they have this conversation around land expropriation without compensation. I mean, is there going to be intent where women are concerned?
The one thing I did get from the chairperson who's been leading these land talks, public hearings rather, that we've seen across the country, asking him when I had a one-on-one with him when he was in Pretoria, is that with regards to what you'll be handing over to Parliament, will it also include written submissions? And he said definitely there will be written submissions from different organizations that will also fall part and parcel of these oral submissions that we saw happening at the hearings. And it seems like what is coming out of this council's landless woman seminar is going to fall part of those written submissions, Kathy, where it won't just end in the discussions that we saw today happening in Pretoria, happening in Port Elizabeth, in Cape Town, as well as in Durban, but they will also be tabled and they will be handed over to the portfolio committee that's going to be looking at this land debate in a holistic way. But one thing is coming out, and is coming out quite strong, is that there is a reverberation that's happening underground. There is a revolution by women, and women are really putting up their hands, Kathy, saying that for the longest time they've been marginalized, and for the longest time they've not been able to have a say in how they maneuver this land, whether it's acquisition, whether it's ownership, whether it's access. And they're saying that that is something that's all in the past now, calling on not only just the president, but also on Parliament. And when they make this all-important decision, to also consider that there are a lot of women, especially marginalized women, women in the black community, women in rural areas, that have been for the longest time been just set aside when it comes to the land debate. I mean, if you look at, for example, issues such as land tenure, issues such as title deeds. A lot of the women who were speaking today at the seminar saying that for the longest time, title deeds have been under men, and women have not been, proud owners of title deeds, and they want this sort of bleak picture to really change.